You are listening to me, DJ Danson. For those who don't know me, I am a radio presenter and YouTube interviewer. I've interviewed hundreds of people over the years. These include various artists and people with interesting stories to tell, and I cover the stories that other people do not want to cover. On today's show, I have with me a lady called Ace Audits joining me on my show.
Hey, thank you very much.
Hey to you, and thank you very much for joining me today and chatting to me. You're very warm welcome to you. And also, how is life treating you today?
Thank you for the invite. It's great to be here, and I'm having a fantastic day, thank you. I hope you are too.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. My day is going well so far. So starting up with my first question, can you just tell me and my listeners what you actually do? When people say audits, they may generally think of an inspection of financial accounts.
Yes, so it is a type of inspection, but it has got nothing to do with financial accounts. So I'm a photographer, a video maker, and a drone pilot. There's two main elements to what I do on my YouTube channel. So the first element is around how photographers, drone pilots, and vloggers often encounter hostility from the police, security guards, company employees, and even the general public. So what I do is I record interactions with people while I'm out filming, both positive and negative, and it all goes into my videos. So I like positive conversations, or ones where I can offer some awareness and education around photography and drone law. But I often find a lot of misinformed people and ignorance, and some of these encounters can get quite abusive from the people that I come across. Now, the general public are usually unaware that these kind of issues exist, so my videos expose this. The second element is the places that I visit. So I usually like to visit industrial areas and taxpayer-funded government sites, but it could be anywhere though. For example, last month, one place I went to was the location of an illegally removed public right-of-way, where I investigated a illegal land grab. I go wherever seems interesting though, especially if it's somewhere that the public wouldn't usually get to see. I like to explore and find out more about these places, what they do, and a bit about their history. I also like to scrutinise places. What good things are they doing there? Do they have solar power, electric car charge points, for example? And are there any issues which should be addressed? Things like visible data breaches or spillages. So during a typical visit, I arrive unannounced as a random member of the public and I start filming. I remain in public areas and I see whatever I can see from the ground, find out what I can about the place, and I will usually fly my drone, called Snoopy, over and around the site and get some aerial footage so I can create a short cinematic drone show for my videos, which my viewers absolutely love. Then if anyone comes out to speak with me, things get really interesting. So I always hope that my interactions that I've got whilst out auditing are friendly and positive. I always remain approachable and calm, but the same can't be said for some of the people that I meet. So I've had equally calm and friendly up to abusive and threatening and everything you can imagine in between. So if I'm out on an audit and I've got an interaction taking place, one of these like hostile interactions, or if it's one of these like negative ones, I will stand my ground and I stand up for my legal, civil and human rights. And I hope that my videos empower others to stand up for theirs too. I think scrutinising organisations, photography in public places and flying drones within the rules, well, they're all perfectly legal activities, but I still regularly encounter misinformed and ignorant people. So I do try to educate them, but they often don't listen and they tend to put themselves directly in front of my clearly visible cameras and then make a complete fool out of themselves. So whatever I can see and whatever happens during the visit is all recorded and it all goes into my YouTube videos to show the public what we deal with as photographers and drone pilots, and also some ways to handle these kind of interactions. So I would describe my personal style of auditing as calm, factual and educational, with some witty humour thrown into the mix.
That's quite intriguing. Thank you for telling me and my listener what the modern day meaning of auditing is. What inspired you to get into this world of auditing?
Well, I had been watching some fantastic auditors for some time before I started my channel, like West Audit Reports, Auditing Yorkshire, Northern Audits, Ryan Rampage, BP Audits, DJ Audits, Auditing Britain, and Reggie Photos were the main ones. There were a few others as well. Now, these are all really good channels as well. They're really good guys, and I highly recommend checking their channels out as well. And I was shocked at seeing how awfully people can sometimes be treated by certain other people in positions of power. For example, rogue police officers abusing their powers, and security guards getting really heavy handed, like well beyond reasonable force, and dodgy company employees just giving them a hard time, like for filming in public. I mean, seeing a rogue police officer not knowing the relevant law, yet still choosing to take away somebody's freedom, despite them conducting a perfectly legal activity. It's just bonkers, really, to think that this even goes on here in the UK. So I really liked that there are some other people out there who make great auditing content, who show all of this stuff to the wider world. Usually things that you would rarely see for yourself and would probably not even know it goes on if it weren't for these videos. So I decided that as somebody who is passionate about photography and standing up for my rights, that I would become an auditor. So I set up my YouTube channel, I got all my equipment in order, I brushed up on my knowledge of the law, and the rest is history.
When you're en route or travelling to an actual audit, do you ever get apprehensive or anxious at all?
When I first started out, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I did get a bit apprehensive at first, maybe for, I don't know, like the first month or so, but not anymore. To my knowledge, I'm currently the only active female auditor in the UK. When I started out, I had no idea how it was going to go. I've seen how some people have been towards male auditors, so it was always in the back of my mind how people might be towards a lone woman. There are a lot of sketchy people out there, and I know how badly many women have been treated by complete strangers in public. So, yeah, I think this was my biggest concern. And that said, my safety is always paramount, and I'm good at knowing my surroundings, reading people's body language, and adapting myself for any given situation. Anxiety has never been an issue. So these days, I'm more looking forward to arriving and getting the cameras rolling and seeing what there is to see. Every visit is different, and I can only expect the unexpected. The only time when apprehension appears is when people start being aggressive towards me. But I have got a lot of past work experience dealing with abusive and violent people, so I draw on those skills to manage those kinds of situations.
That's fine. So there appears to be a growing number of auditors. Do you know where this upsurge is coming from?
I think that some people are fed up with their rights and freedoms being eroded, removed, and abused. I know that some people have had enough of their lawful activities and hobbies being attacked by miseducated and ignorant people, and often being subjected to abuse, especially so towards drone pilots. Some people want to make sure that public money is being spent properly by authorities and it's not being wasted. Others want to observe companies for numerous reasons like data breaches or environmental problems. And some people want to make a stand to highlight these issues, and auditing became a way of doing that. Now, these are just a small handful of reasons that people might want to start auditing, and I'm sure there are plenty of other reasons too. It began as a thing in the USA and it eventually made its way around the world. So it's been a thing here in the UK for a good few years now. And although there are cultural and legal differences between the USA and the UK, the essence of auditing remains the same worldwide. I also find it fascinating to see how varied auditing styles are and how different auditors conduct themselves and the vast differences from one auditing channel to another. There is a misconception that all auditors are just out there looking for an argument and conflict for clicks on the internet. So whilst that might be true for some people who call themselves auditors, my channel and plenty of others are not like that at all. Yeah, ACE Audits is about photography in and from public places and defending our legal, civil and human rights, and standing against tyranny.
Do you have any tips or hints to any would-be auditors starting out?
The best tips that I can give would be to know the law, know the legislation, know your rights, protect your privacy, stay safe. And did I say know the law?
What's your view of when people get requested to stop filming in a public place by security, for example, at a shopping centre, music concert, nightclub, or just in the street? Do you have any advice on how to deal with that said scenario?
Great question. So I'm going to quote a short paragraph from a document called Guidance for Photographers, which was published by the Association of Chief Police Officers. So it states there are no powers prohibiting the taking of photographs, film, or digital images in a public place. Therefore, members of the public and press should not be prevented from doing so. And it also goes on to state that once an image has been recorded, that the police have got no power to delete or confiscate it without a court order. There's a piece of legislation, Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972, which defines a public place as any highway and any other premises or place to which at the material time the public have or are permitted to have access, whether on payment or otherwise. And the Civil Aviation Authority, who control the airspace, they say where drones can and can't be flown, which I adhere to their rules all the time. So my views entirely echo the law itself. Photography in and from a public place is not a crime. It's a perfectly legal activity. Nobody, not even the police, have any authority or power to stop you. They can ask, but you're under no obligation to stop. Now, very rarely there might be bylaws and no-fly zones, which you should always observe, which can restrict photography and drone flights, but for the most part, there are no legal issues filming in or from public. So if taking photographs, recording videos, and taking aerial footage was not allowed, what would become of dash cams, mobile phone cameras, the mainstream media's photographers like the paparazzi, Google Street View, and satellite imagery? So when it comes to dealing with these types of situations that you've mentioned, my advice would be to do what I do if you felt safe and confident doing so. So I will calmly and politely tell them straight that they're wrong and offer to explain to them why that is. Now, of course, people quite often will choose not to listen. They choose to be ignorant, and the situation can escalate. I never get angry or shouty, and my personal safety is always at the forefront of my mind. But every interaction that I have whilst I'm out auditing is recorded on at least one of my clearly visible cameras. So if tyrants choose to walk up to a person filming in public and put themselves in front of it and make a complete fool of themselves, well, that's up to them. They will be on my YouTube video for the world to see them being a complete fool, and that's entirely on them. But yeah, going back to those situations, if you are able to record the interaction, that can only be a good thing for your protection as well as theirs. You don't want any kind of false accusations being made if the police were to turn up or anything like that. It just covers your back. The camera is your friend.
Thanks for going in depth to answering that question. Some valid points there. How do you see society in 10 years' time? Do you feel we will be constantly surveillanced, a bit like Big Brother, or is it happening as we very well speak?
Another great question. So I think that over the past few decades, especially with the rapid advancement of technology and the internet, we are already well on the way to being a Big Brother state. You've got CCTV everywhere, you've got facial recognition, state hacking, cashless society, online tracking, everyone's got a mobile cell phone, the list just goes on. Society, it seems to me, is sleepwalking into a surveillance state, and if people don't stand up for their rights and fight for them and their freedoms, the rights and freedoms that our ancestors fought for in past wars, they will at some point find themselves with even fewer rights, and at some point they'll be gone altogether. It's like George Orwell's book 1984. It seems to be increasingly used as an instruction manual by certain states.
I guess you can also add cashless society to the list there. Well, my final question is, finally, where can people follow you on social medias?
Yes, so if you head on over to YouTube and type ACE Audits into the search bar, I should pop straight up as one of the first search results. You can't miss me. The channel image is a pink square with ACE Audits in it on a blue background. So once you have found my channel, I would be super grateful if you could hit the subscribe button, which will really help me grow the channel. And it will make sure that you get to see my latest videos as I release them, which at the moment is every Monday and Friday at 4 p.m. UK time.
Well, thanks for your time and answering my questions and just giving a little bit of insight into the world of an auditor, and hope that it gives people the awareness and knowledge of having the right to film in public places. It has been literally ace. Thank you again for your contribution to my show.